If you've ever felt out of place when everyone around you is glued to a game, you're not alone. And honestly, not caring about sports might be saving you more money than you think. Look, I'm not here to trash sports fans. If you love watching the game, that's your thing. But there's this weird assumption in American culture that if you don't care about sports, something's off about you, like you're missing some social chip or you're just boring. Here's what we're actually going to cover: why some people genuinely don't connect with sports, what psychology says about it, and, since this is a finance channel, how not being into sports can quietly impact your wallet and your social life in ways most people don't talk about. Because right now, with everything costing more, a lot of people are looking at their subscriptions, their weekend plans, their bar tabs, and realizing that following the team isn't just a hobby anymore, it's a budget line. First off, it's not about being antisocial or thinking you're smarter than everyone else. Psychology actually breaks this down into a few patterns. Some people just don't get the same dopamine hit from watching competition. Your brain's reward system is wired differently. If you're someone who gets more excited by solving a problem, finishing a project, or learning something new, watching strangers throw a ball might literally feel boring. Not because you're judging it, it just doesn't light up the same parts of your brain. Then there's the tribal element. Sports fandom is deeply social. It's about belonging to something bigger than yourself. But if you didn't grow up in a house where sports mattered, or you moved around a lot and never planted roots with a team, that emotional attachment never formed. You can't force nostalgia. And here's the part people don't say out loud. Some people actively avoid sports because they don't want to tie their mood to something they can't control. If your team loses and it wrecks your whole weekend, that's a real psychological cost. For people who already deal with stress, maybe from work, money, family, adding another emotional roller coaster doesn't feel worth it. Not caring about sports can actually create weird social friction, especially in work environments. If your coworkers bond over Monday Night Football or March Madness brackets and you've got nothing to contribute, you can end up feeling like an outsider. That's not about sports, that's about shared language. In some industries, sales, finance, certain corporate spaces, sports talk is almost like a second currency. It's how people build rapport, break the ice, signal that they're one of the guys. If you don't have that toolkit, you might have to work harder to connect in other ways. Now, let's talk money, because this is where it gets interesting. The average American sports fan spends around $800 to $1,000 a year on their habit. That includes streaming services, tickets, jerseys, bar tabs during games, fantasy league buy-ins. If you're not into sports, that's money you're just not spending. For someone living paycheck to paycheck or trying to pay down credit card debt, that's real breathing room. $1,000 a year is 2 months of groceries for some people. It's an emergency fund. It's a plane ticket. And it's not just the direct costs. Think about the time. If you're watching 3 to 4 hours of games a week, that's over 150 hours a year. That's almost a full month of free time if you added it all up. Some people use that time to freelance, learn a skill, work on a side hustle. Others just rest. Both are valid. I'm not saying people who love sports are wasting money. If it brings you joy, connection, and you can afford it, that's a win. But for people who don't feel that pull, there's this quiet guilt sometimes, like you're supposed to care, like you're missing out on some essential part of being American. You're not. What you are doing is opting out of a system that's designed to keep you emotionally and financially invested. Sports leagues, broadcasters, advertisers, they've built an empire around turning fandom into spending. If that doesn't resonate with you, you're just not their target market. That's it. And here's the flip side. People who don't obsess over sports often invest their energy elsewhere. Maybe it's music, gaming, hiking, reading, building something. The psychology is the same. You're still seeking meaning, community, and identity. You're just finding it in a different arena. So if you've ever felt like the odd one out because you don't care who won last night, now you know it's not a flaw. It's just a difference in how your brain is wired. what you value, and where you choose to spend your limited time and money. In a culture that treats sports fandom like a default setting, opting out can feel isolating, but it can also be freeing. You're not carrying the emotional weight of wins and losses. You're not budgeting around season tickets. You're just living your life on your own terms. Real security comes from understanding what actually matters to you, even when the crowd's cheering for something else. If this hit home, subscribe. We break down the money and psychology behind the things most people just accept. Drop a comment if you're in the don't care about sports camp, or if you're a fan who finally gets why some people just don't. Either way, I'll see you in the next one.